Hello, this is a short taster of an episode that's now live for our Wine Blast Plus subscribers at a full-length interview with Greg Lambrecht, inventor of Coravin.
Greg leads an intriguing double life, one in spine surgery, the other where his unique inventions aim to do nothing less than change the way we drink wine forever.
Now, this follows on from our previous episode where we could only feature snippets of our chat, but the full interview is well worth your time. It's informative, full of practical tips and helpful insights. It's entertaining and at times very funny. Really, it's just a great human story of how a brilliant medical mind is revolutionising wine consumption.
And the story is still very much in the telling, given the new things Greg is currently working on. So what follows here is a taster of the full interview. If you want to listen to the whole thing, sign up to Wine Blast Plus at wineblast.co.uk. And if it helps seal the deal, subscribers get 15% off Coravin gadgets too.
Now, I started the interview by asking Greg to introduce himself.
Yes, I'm Greg Lambrecht. I'm the founder and inventor of Coravin and also the executive director of Intrinsic Therapeutics.
Glad we got both job titles in there. Yeah, fantastic.
I work in medicine, so, I care about them.
Good. So, Greg, tell us a bit about your parallel life, your other life as a medic, where that began and what you sort of specialised in.
Yeah, I was lucky I worked in physics, trained in physics as an undergrad, and went to Japan and worked in physics and came back realizing this is not the life that I wanted. And so went into graduate school in mechanical engineering and sort of fell into biomedical engineering. And I got hired by J&J, Johnson & Johnson, to brainstorm and develop a new product for them. It was people were getting accidental transmissions of disease, hepatitis and AIDS by accidental needle sticks in the hospital. And they said, can you prevent this? And so I was one of the ones who developed one of the ways of shielding a needle after it's been used. And I fell in love with it. It was 3 pieces of plastic and a piece of metal. And it sold 100 million units. And I was like, okay, so this sounds like fun. I should do this. And I got hired into Pfizer and was hired to invent new products for them, which was a cool job. I mean, their bankroll and my desire to learn about medicine and invent. And so my boss and I invented this process to develop new medical devices. And so I've been inventing new therapies since I was in my 20s. And it all starts with an unmet need, a problem that you see that a patient is suffering, that the healthcare system fails to optimally deliver on a solution. And then you brainstorm solutions to that need and invent a new product to solve it. And so I got to do that in orthopedics and cardiac surgery and cardiology and urology and obstetrics and gynecology and vascular surgery. And so now I've started a couple of different companies on my own after leaving that program. And I currently work in spine surgery. So I work in ruptured discs of the lower back that cause sciatica and a way to repair the disc so that it doesn't happen again. So it's a very fulfilling part of my life.
So just to be clear, you'll carry on doing that very important medical work alongside the wine and the Coravin stuff. Yeah,
I have a split personality. I'm half-time in medicine, and we joke, spine and wine, my career rhymes. But, spine surgeons and surgeons in general love wine. So there's a pretty significant crossover between the two fields.
What are the strangest ways you've come across Coravin being used or abused?
I love my Californian brethren. I was in Los Angeles and I was doing a trade event that wound up being a consumer event at the end at a wine store, and this is right after launch, and this man came up to me. He said, "I love Coravin. I love Timeless." He said, "Let me show you what I do with it." And he grabbed 3 different bottles of wine and a glass, and he blended his own wine in the glass. And he tasted, I tasted. I was like, "Man, that's pretty good." And I said, "Do not tell the producers of these wines that you have done this." And there are no photographs of me in this doing this. Rudy Kurnowian was a very good blender, right? So it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be done nefariously. So I thought that was funny. the other ways, the unique ways that surprised me, Chateau Margaux, very innovative user of Coravin from the beginning. They use it to rebottle their wines, recork their wines. So in Bordeaux, if you've existed for a long time, you have this massive cellar and you're worried about the quality of the cork. So, they take a pile of wines from the 1950s, the same wine. And what they used to do is pull the cork on all of them, taste through all of them to see if any of them have gone bad, find the one that tastes the best, and then use that to top up all the rest of the bottles and then recork everything. And the whole process took 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, depending upon the number of bottles they were opening. And it would be, all the bottles would be exposed to air during this period of time. And some of these wines are quite delicate from the 50s or 40s and very valuable. And so what they switched to doing with Coravin immediately was Coravining all the bottles, finding the bottles that were bad, finding the one they should top up with. And then they would just pull the cork, top up, close, pull the cork, top up, close, and go across. And they're like, wine's barely open and it's got a layer of argon on the inside. So that was a very cool, unexpected use. And then there's all the beautiful things, like still my favorite dessert. I was in a restaurant that no longer exists in New York. The pandemic shut it down. For Lydia Bastianich's restaurant. And the sommelier, there was a dessert. There was a cheese plate and it was $100 US. I was like, what cheese is possibly making this $100 US? The waiter said, wait one moment. And the sommelier came by and he goes, it's $100 US because you get 3 glasses of Chateau Yquem. And it's 1986, 1996, and 2006. Chateau Yquem by the glass. And I was like, how are you doing that? He's like, oh, there's this wonderful thing called Coravin. And I'm like, oh, fantastic. And that was, nobody opens and drinks a bottle of Chateau, rarely opens and drinks a bottle of Chateau Yquem, but to get 3 different decades and cheese was spectacular. It was awesome.
Greg, you're very kindly giving away a Timeless 6+ Hermitage as part of our Wine Blast 1 million giveaway. If you could have one bottle to use this on right now, price no issue, what would it be?
Best wine that I've ever had. 1899 Corton Rouge from a producer who no longer exists. These were pre-phylloxera, pre-grafting Burgundy and red. So found under the corner of a chapel in the Czech Republic under the Castle Betchoff, along with a few hundred other wines, buried by a Nazi sympathizing Belgian who was running from the Russians in World War II, right? It's got a history, and I was asked to Coravin through 12 of the bottles so that they could auction them and sell them off to repair the church roof. And I was there with Master of Wine, Andreas Vikoff, and a great sommelier from the Czech Republic. And we Coravin through all these different wines, and it was Chateau Yquem from 1892, 96, and 99. And it was extraordinary. But then we had this pre-phylloxera Corton Rouge that nobody thought was worth anything. We poured a glass for the 3 of us to taste, and people could smell it meters away. It was, my skin still tingles. It's the best thing I've tasted of anything, food or liquid. And it is just so alive. And there was a sommelier in the crowd who asked us to pour another glass so we could pass it around to everybody. And he said, this winemaker doesn't exist. This producer is gone. The person who made it is long dead. Probably their grandchildren are gone. And these grapevines are gone. And yet this wine is still alive. And I thought, we are such a strange species, to have these things that outlive us, that we pass on to future generations to be able to taste, to experience that vintage, that 1899, and somebody's incredible work. There's so few things that are like that outside of the art world and architecture, but from a consumable, right? From a beverage, a Buddhist piece of art, right? Where you, or a mandala-like piece of art, it's gone when it's consumed. It's just a fantastic, fantastic relationship between us and the grape.
Greg Lambrecht, quick fire questions. Question number 1, running or walking?
Running.
By the glass or by the bottle?
By the glass.
Medicine or wine?
Medicine.
Good. I feel more reassured that you said that, but, tough one.
Especially if you're getting one of my implants. You probably hope that I care more about one than the other.
Pinot Noir or Syrah?
Syrah.
Old World or New World?
Old World.
Old wine or young wine?
Old wine.
Most memorable wine moment?
Blind tasting 5 years with the Burgundy producers, being scared out of my pants.
And what happened?
Monsieur Lafarge, when he was still alive, 83 or 4, he looked at me while I was pacing and everyone was quiet and blind tasting, and he just holds both of his thumbs up and smiles. I was like, oh, thank God.
Most embarrassing wine moment?
Brought the wrong control bottle to a blind tasting with Jancis Robinson. I thought my company was sunk upon launch. And she looked at me and she goes, I can tell the difference between these wines. And she goes, and by the way, you brought the wrong control bottle. And I was like, I have failed and I'm an idiot.
Clearly no impediment to your success. What one wine thing do you most want to achieve professionally?
Anything available by the glass at retail, at home, and at the restaurant.
What gets you out of bed in the morning?
The chance to try to improve somebody's life, whether it's through medicine or a great glass of wine.
What a wonderful thing to be able to say. Greg, thank you very much indeed.
Oh, thank you, Peter. I really appreciate the time and the interest.
So there we go. If you want to hear this fantastic interview in full, all you have to do is subscribe to Wine Blast Plus. You will not only be supporting the show, you'll also get fine subscriber-only bonus content like this, or our exclusive report on a blind tasting of top 2021 Super Tuscans, for example. And of course, you get early access to all episodes plus full archive access, not to mention subscriber benefits and giveaways.
Such as 15% off Coravin goodies. Just head to wineblast.co.uk or click the link in our show notes. Thank you and cheers.